How's it going, guys and gals? Today, I don't have a story to read you. I wanted to talk about games, something that I was planning to do with the Resident Evil series after playing Resident Evil 7 so much this past week. But today, I got some pretty interesting news. Maybe, not really news, it's more of a rumor. It's from a article on Frag Hero that Fallout New Vegas 2 details leaked and reveal planned. Now, I don't know about you guys, but Fallout New Vegas is probably one of my favorite RPGs from the last console generation. Definitely, probably one of my favorite Fallout games of all time, especially the new style of Fallout games that started with Fallout 3. I know there's really only been like 3 of them, but out of the selection that we do have, New Vegas is definitely the best. So news of a New Vegas game, a sequel, a follow-up, sounds pretty cool, especially when it's rumored that Obsidian is definitely making it, which I would hope they would be making it. When Fallout 4 came out, the first thing I thought was, cool, this game's alright, but what would Obsidian do with it? And I think New Vegas 2, or anything that Obsidian does make, is definitely going to be our answer to that. I know it's a rumor, but apparently Frag Hero has a history of predicting things before they happen. They have an insider source that accurately leaked Red Dead Redemption 2 details, and they also accurately called the reveal of The Last of Us 2 weeks before it was even announced. So they have a history of being right with this. I mean, they've gone 2 for 2, at least is what they claim in the article. I don't know, I'm not a Frag Hero reader, so I don't know how often they're right. But if they have a history from this source of being right, and they're saying New Vegas 2 is being made, or that it's ready to be announced at the very least, that's kind of exciting. At least when you first hear about it. Now, Obsidian is definitely great at making Fallout games and making video games. You know, people really liked Pillars of Eternity until a stupid controversy took over, which I'm not going to get into today. Tyranny, people were kind of on the fence about, from what I remember. It just wasn't as well polished of a game. Maybe it was a bit rushed. So the question is, will Obsidian make the Fallout game that we are looking for? And that's kind of a loaded question, because what do we want in a Fallout game? You know, everybody has different expectations from Fallout. You have the classic fans who just, you know, they really want something like Fallout 2 again, you know, that kind of, or even Fallout 1. I mean, Fallout 2 just had a lot of improvements over Fallout 1. A lot of people who just want that, and like, it'd be kind of cool to see a new game like that, but that's not going to happen, I feel like, in today's gaming market. Maybe Obsidian could do that, but I don't think they're going to do that with Fallout as long as Bethesda's in charge. So then we have the problem of, is it going to be like the Xbox 360, PS3 era games of Fallout, where is it going to be like Fallout 3 New Vegas, or is it going to be the current generation of Fallout, which is Fallout 4? And both have their pros and cons, and obviously the best solution would be to make a mix of those two kinds of games. Because, let's face it, as good as the shooting mechanics, and oh, that's my phone going off. God damn it, Gmail. As good as the shooting mechanics and weapon customization and armor system are in Fallout 4, there's definitely still a lot to be desired, and this is something that I go on about with Bethesda games all too often, is that they seem to take like 2 steps forward, but like 3 steps back somewhere else. Like, Skyrim had a really nice, beautifully made world. And, you know, fighting dragons was awesome, using the shouts, the magic system was pretty alright. The combat system, it depends on what you like. I liked Oblivion more than I liked Morrowind, because Morrowind's combat always just kind of pissed me off. So Bethesda has this history of just kind of ruining things, and it really started with Skyrim with the perk system, and they're getting rid of RPG elements at this point. Like, Skyrim wasn't an RPG, it was more of an action game with RPG elements and kind of a character progression system. But you couldn't really build a character. You know, in Oblivion it asked you, do you want to be a mage? You know, do you want to be a fighter? Do you want to be a thief or an archer? That's not in Skyrim. And on one hand, like, that's cool, you know, you can make anything. But on the other hand, it's not cool, because, like, there's no level, like, there's leveling up, but it's not like, you don't get to put skill points into different skills, you don't specialize in anything, you just do it. And Fallout 3 came out, you know, that came out after Oblivion, as we all know, so did New Vegas, and then Skyrim came out. So before Skyrim came out, we had, you know, Oblivion with guns, we had Fallout 3, and that game took the special system from the original games, it took all the skill points from the original games, it left out some other things that New Vegas brought back that was really good. So we had skill points, and we had perks, we had, you know, you leveled up, you put, you know, X amount of points into whatever stat you really wanted to specialize in. And that felt like an RPG, you know, and it didn't feel like a shooter with RPG elements, because, let's face it, the shooting in Fallout 3 was garbage, and it was only marginally better in New Vegas. But it was the RPG elements that really made those games great, and the world and the story. And then we moved on to Fallout 4, which improved the shooting. It made, you know, it really added a sense of personalization to the guns, with attachments and, you know, modding your guns like crazy. And I really liked that aspect of the game. I spent so much time in Fallout 4 at the gun bench, just going over all the different options for all my different guns and just tweaking it to be just the way I liked. But then they went the Skyrim route of leveling, and they got rid of stat points, they got rid of, I can't think what they're called right now, but they got rid of stuff like Wild Wasteland or Four Eyes or, you know, Small Frame that was in Fallout New Vegas that was brought back from the original games. So that just really another way of just specializing your character to like the maximum. They took that out. They took out Karma, which was always like, I felt like Karma was always like a really important part of Fallout, because like you could be like a good or a bad person, and it actually mattered. You know, on some level, your actions had consequences. And in Fallout 4, like, yeah, I could kill a bunch of people and steal stuff, and nothing would happen to me. There was no consequence other than the immediate of, if I steal from this guy, he might shoot at me. Like, it's kind of stupid. You know, it got rid of the reputation system that New Vegas introduced, which I thought was awesome. And you could disguise yourself as different factions by just putting on their armor. I thought that was a really nice touch, and that kind of diplomacy aspect of New Vegas really added to the world. The NCR would attack you if you're wearing, you know, Legion armor. If you're wearing NCR armor, the Brotherhood wouldn't like you either. So, like, it had this dynamic that was really good, and I don't know why they got rid of that. And I don't know why they got rid of Karma, where, you know, if you were a good person, people would come and, you know, give you gifts for helping the Wasteland, or they would attack you because, you know, some guy got pissed off that you were that you were helping people. Or if you were like a shithead and you decided to just kill everybody and just be a complete psycho, then you would have bounty hunters trying to kill you because that was just the world you were in. And they don't have that because there's no karma. Instead, Fallout 4 is less an RPG and more of an action game where you are playing as a concerned parent looking for your stupid son. And you can't really break away from that character. You know, there's nothing to say, you know, fuck my son, I don't want to be it, because you're Commander Shepard now, you're voiced, and you have a wheel of dialogue options that are vague 1 to like 4 word responses that you don't know what it's going to be until you hit that button and you realize that you were trying to say something nice, but you chose the sarcastic option. So like everyone thinks you're a dickhead now, but it doesn't matter because there's no karma system. Like, it was such a terrible break from form, and I really hope that if Obsidian is actually making New Vegas 2, that they kind of learn from Bethesda's mistakes of what they took out and added to Fallout 4. If Bethesda is telling them what can and can't be in the game, like, I understand that isn't 100% up to Obsidian, and that's a very unfortunate reality. But I would hope that they would be allowed to bring back stuff like the gun skill, explosive skill, you know, being able to put your skill points into things, and stuff like Wild Wasteland, and, you know, all that really good stuff. And if I'm stuck with being Commander Shepard in exchange for having the option to play an RPG, then I can live with that. But I would prefer it if I didn't have a voiced character. As much as Mass Effect 2 was a really great game, I'm to be honest, I didn't like Mass Effect 1, and I didn't really play through Mass Effect 3. But as much as I like Mass Effect 2, like, not every game has to be like that. Not every game has to be that kind of RPG with the dialogue, as much as it worked for Mass Effect. I didn't like it when they brought it into Dragon Age, and I certainly don't really like it when they brought it into Fallout. It's just not that kind of game. That kind of dialogue options was great in a game like Alpha Protocol, which isn't really that great of a game, but for $3 it's a pretty good game, so if it ever goes on sale for that much, I'd pick it up on Steam. It's kind of a shitty game, but it's fun for what it is, and if you get it cheap enough, it's worth the money. But besides that, we're talking about Fallout. Yeah, I don't want to be a bandit, and at the same time I'm looking for my son. Like, that's stupid. And I think that the DLCs really kind of shoehorned you into a path. Stuff like Nuka World, where you have to be a bandit if you want to experience the DLC to the fullest, but at the same time, you're a concerned parent. Like, there's so many flaws with that kind of setup. I mean, like, sure, there's different kinds of concerned parent. You can be the angry concerned parent who's gonna fuck with everyone. You know, no bullshit, I don't care about you. I only care about my son. But, like, limiting your character like that is really terrible. And I'm hoping that Obsidian doesn't do that. I'm also hoping that Obsidian doesn't try to bring the courier into the game for New Vegas 2. I feel like that would be a really terrible idea. Because the courier was us, you know? You were the courier. Everyone's courier was different, and I don't want a canon way for New Vegas to exist. I think that would be silly. And I don't expect there to be any kind of save import, because obviously we're talking about a game from the previous console generation. As much as it would make sense on something like PC, it really wouldn't work with a PS4 and Xbox One, and let's be frank, they're kind of limiting what we can do with games. And then there's also the problem of how big is the game world going to be, because Fallout 4 was really tiny, but the Capital Wasteland and even the Mojave Wasteland, they had their problems too. The Capital Wasteland, you know, didn't really feel very busy outside of the DC area. And as much as I like New Vegas more than any other Fallout game of its type, the Mojave Wasteland is pretty damn boring. There's nothing really going on, and New Vegas itself is very small. So I'm hoping that that kind of thing is addressed. Obviously, the Mojave is going to have changed after our time away from it, but who even knows if we're going to necessarily be in the Mojave? We could be on the other side of the Mojave, you know, and instead of traveling east to New Vegas, we're traveling west to New Vegas, you know? We could be closer to the California side than the Nevada side for most of the game. So there's a lot of different ways it could go, and I'm hoping that Obsidian doesn't fuck it up if they are really making New Vegas 2, because that kind of game has a lot of potential.
What we do here is go back.
So anyway, those are my thoughts on a potential New Vegas 2 being made by Obsidian. I'm sorry if it was kind of ranty or, kind of rambled on for a bit and I didn't really make too much sense, but I was just kind of unscripted, getting my ideas out there, what I thought, and I hope you guys don't mind that too much. Let me know what you think about a potential New Vegas 2 in the comments below. What would you want to see? What might you like? I think there's a lot of good discussion we had on what would make this kind of game good. So if you liked the video, you can go ahead and leave a like. If you dislike it, feel free to leave a dislike. If you want to see more content, you can go ahead and subscribe. And if you really want to know when I'm doing stuff, you can turn on the little notification option. But other than that, that's all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you have a good day.